Hello everybody, my name is Krebs and welcome back to War Thunder. Today's topic is going to be a controversial one, but that's absolutely fine because it's Friday. And that means we have a full weekend in which to engage in a full-scale war of opinions in the chat box below about said topic. Happy times. So what I'm going to be talking about with you guys today is about how skill-wise, Arcade is not as bad as people make it out to be. But also this kind of like elitist attitude that is rampant amongst a number of realistic battles pilots out there, where they think that their mode is the absolute best, with perhaps Simulator being slightly better, although they almost never mention that, and Arcade right at the very bottom, no skill, for babies, an introductory game mode to those wanting to get into realistic battle, or the game itself, or if you get a high number of kills in arcade battles, that it doesn't mean anything because anyone can get that number of kills at any time if they so choose to, because there's no skill. Well, first off, I have to say that I completely disagree with that argument, and unfortunately, if you actually think like that, then 1, you're a moron, 2, you're ignorant, and 3, you probably suck at arcade, and that is why you think like that. So, I also want to present a contrary argument that you can't compare the game modes to each other. Each game mode has a different skill asset to it. It's like asking a realistic pilot, a very skilled realistic pilot, to go into an arcade battle and fly as well as a very skilled arcade pilot. Likewise, vice versa. It just wouldn't make sense, and they would obviously fall flat on their face. They would not do well because the skill assets are completely different from each other. It's like comparing table tennis, ping pong, to normal tennis, and asking Andy Murray or Djokovic to go on a ping pong table and win a championship. It wouldn't happen. Although the games may look a lot alike or have similarities, the skill assets are completely different from each other and so can't be compared. The thing is, all these game modes are different from each other, whereas the fact where arcade battles, things fly, well, arcadey, kind of unrealistic, whereas in realistic battles, things fly a bit more realistic. You don't know what planes you're coming up against whenever you check the leaderboards. You have limited amount of ammo, you can overheat, your wings can rip off due to G-forces. Sure, I get that, but those are things that you take into consideration as part of your skill asset. And the thing is, just because you're able to keep your plane alive because you know how not to break your wings due to G-forces, or that you know how to shoot down a plane most appropriately by conserving your ammo and then shooting it at the right moment, doesn't necessarily mean that you're a better player overall in the game, or that your game mode is better. All it means is that you are experienced and know how to do well with the restrictions your game mode has placed down upon you. Put it like this: every game mode or even game out there, the best players are ones that are able to both make sense out of the chaos on a battlefield and then are able to manipulate it in their favor. And I've seen that in every game mode within this game. Players that are able to do that, and I know from first-hand experience that in arcade, that most definitely happens as well. I like to consider myself a very good pilot, but also flying out in that 2 vs 2 event tournament that went on and placing number 27 in it. My god, I know how good some players are in this game. When it comes to their aim, knowing how to use planes, knowing enemy planes, there is so much to take into consideration. You'd be stupid to say that arcade battles has no skill in it. You'd just be ignorant to say that. And all I could say, if you're still ignorant about it, is watch some of my videos on that event. And that's not a plug just to say, you know, we'll go watch my video. Honestly, it's because there is so much skill rampant in it, and if even better, be a part of that tournament next time. See how high you can actually get. I have a feeling you wouldn't get that high, because people are just that good. They know how to manipulate the situation, whether it's moving their plane in the right manner, knowing how the enemy plane will move it in the right manner, and that's just what it is. Each game mode has their own skill asset. In arcade, I don't have to deal with some of the restrictions that you guys have to deal with in realistic and simulator, like wings breaking off, for example, or overheating so quickly your engine, or even reloading. However, I have to deal with other things, like the ever-presence of constant enemies coming at you, rammers from every single direction, and even just a momentary lapse in this situational awareness means that I can get rammed because I have no idea that there's another plane heading my direction. It's knowing exactly what is happening around you, what the enemies are doing, and what they are likely to be doing next, and how you can try to make the most out of it. That is something that is different from realistic and simulator, and that is my main argument of why these game modes are vastly different from each other. In realistic, for example, you climb for 5 minutes, you wait for the enemies to appear, you might see 1 or 2 in front of you, and then that's all you're gonna have to contend with. You know that there's gonna be 1 or 2 enemies, maybe even a third one later down the line, who knows, maybe it'll be easier, maybe it'll be harder. However, the thing is, in arcade, god damn it, you know you've always got 5 people on you all at the same time. They're ever present. What are you supposed to do about it? There is nothing you can do but try to get better and know that you have to make the most out of your plane, and that situational awareness is very, very critical. But the thing is, just having situational awareness doesn't necessarily always mean that you're gonna win an engagement. Sometimes your situational awareness can lapse and you'll have to be defensive, for example. You have to know aerobatic maneuvers, and all those aerobatic maneuvers that you might have in realistic and simulator applies in arcade as well. You can do a stall, you can do a barrel roll, you can do an implement turn, you can do anything as well, and they all work the exact same. The number of times people have overshot me, I just do a barrel roll and I'm instantly on their tail, that's something I would have done in realistic. The thing is, in arcade, there's still so many other things that you have to take into consideration. Alright, here's another point. When was the last time you've been in a realistic battle and bombers have won the match? Probably never, right? When was the last time you've been in arcade battles and bombers have won the match? Pretty much a lot of games, happens all the time. So, prioritization of targets is again very important. Do you want to kill a bomber, or do you want to kill a fighter who might be beside that bomber and then he might kill you? It's prioritization. Knowing when to hit the right opponent and what would be the best benefit for your team and also yourself. Maps are different. If I play on domination, like this one here on Britain, there's one giant airfield to cap. Now how am I going to cap this airfield? Am I going to just go in gently, stop on the airfield, let it cap? No! I'm probably going to die. I'm going to get strafed on the airfield. If I'm going to cap it, I have to do it at high speed. I have to do something like a Krebs landing, or just what they would call a simple combat landing. Landing at speed and being able to take off again shortly afterwards, so that I lose hardly any momentum. And that is difficult to do because you have to prevent your prop from touching the ground, breaking apart. You have to try to dodge oncoming planes. It's just an absolute mess, and you have to be experienced at actually doing that. And I'm saying this from experience as well. If you're new to the channel, you might think I only play arcade, and well, actually you're right, now I only play arcade, but I used to play realistic battles quite a bit as well. And if you're thinking that, okay, maybe he's played 50 or something, no, I haven't. I've played about 500 games worth, which to some might not be a lot. However, that's enough to say that you're experienced in the game mode. I've got over 2 days worth of playtime using fighters, and I have a KD of over 1, meaning I average at least 1 kill per game, which actually is pretty damn good, because if you check most people's stat cards, they've got way below 1 kill average per game. So I know what I'm speaking about. I know that, you know, I'm not just biased completely to arcade battles. I've played both modes. Now, if there's a theme or something that you can take away from this video, it's the fact that I keep on stressing that skilled pilots are good at a particular game mode because they are skilled and experienced with the restrictions placed upon them and others in that game mode. Or what I'm trying to say is that you can't compare the different game modes to each other because the mechanics are just completely different. Now, I'm gonna finish off with a closing statement, and it's the fact that I don't know where this has come from. I don't know why realistic pilots are just kind of so elitist about this whole issue. I never see arcade pilots saying, oh, our mode is better than yours, or even simulator pilots. Hardly ever do I see them say that our mode is better. It's just realistic pilots, and I've come up with a theory a hypothesis of why this is so. I have a feeling that a lot of realistic pilots, the elitists, are like that because they were once arcade pilots, and now you could consider them fallen arcade pilots who were so crap at arcade, they decided to try out something different and try out realistic because they knew they had no hope in hell of flying in a simulator battle. And they really started to love realistic because they got one kill and they got so much rewards out of it. Whereas in arcade battles, they struggled to get any kills, and when they did get a kill, it really amounted to nothing. So getting a kill in realistic just meant a whole lot more in terms of rewards, and that's why they love it so much more. That is my hypothesis, and I bet you anything, I would place a wager that that applies to probably half of those elitists, if not even more. But okay guys, what are your thoughts and opinions about this topic? Overall, I want to say that you can't compare the game modes. They all have their own skill assets. Arcade definitely has skill, and I know that for a fact. Just use me as an example. Use other pilots in the 2 vs 2 event as an example. There are plenty of examples out there. Alright guys, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment box below. But until the next video, this is Krebs, and I'll catch you guys next time.